Every other healthcare experience has trained you to expect long appointments. 60 minutes of physical therapy, 45 minutes of occupational therapy. The longer the session, the more thorough it must be, right? So when you watch a child get a chiropractic adjustment that lasts under 2 minutes, your brain throws up a red flag. Wait, that's it? That's the right question to ask? But the answer flips everything you've been taught about healing on its head. A neurologically focused adjustment isn't shorter because it's doing less, it's shorter because of how powerful the nervous system responds to precise input. And adding more would actually overwhelm an already overloaded system. Once you understand the real mechanism behind what happens during those 2 minutes, the entire concept of time on the table stops being the right yardstick. What looks short is actually doing something extraordinary, and the proof shows up in the hours and days that follow. Now, this is for parents who've been watching their child move through therapy after therapy, supplement after supplement, protocol after protocol, and still feel like something foundational is being missed. If you ever wondered whether a 2-minute adjustment could actually move the needle, this is for you. So, what you'll learn in this video is what a chiropractic adjustment actually is and what it isn't, how a precise neurological input reaches the brainstem, vagus nerve, and cortex, and why pediatric adjustments are short by design, why frequency matters far more than duration for healing, and how insight scans make the invisible nervous system visible. So, one of the most powerful examples our profession has ever documented happened inside a level 3 NICU, not in a chiropractic office. A newborn baby boy has suffered a traumatic birth that included a whiplash-type injury to his upper neck and brainstem, a hypoxic brain injury, and a condition called PPHN, persistent pulmonary hypertension of the newborn. Because he was hooked up to every machine and monitor you can imagine, the neurophysiological impact of those first gentle adjustments were visible in real time. His heart rate came down, his respiration improved, his oxygen levels rose, and his whole body relaxed and released that locked-in tension. What happened in that NICU isn't a one-time story. It's the same thing that happens quietly every single time a child gets a neurologically focused adjustment. You just can't always see it spelled out on a monitor the way it was that day. So, an adjustment, what you think it is. The pop or crack sounds is just gas released from joint capsules. It has nothing to do whether the adjustment worked. The real action isn't structural at all, it's the precise neurological signal that structure sends to the brain. Specific input activates mechanoreceptors and proprioceptors packed into the paraspinal muscles, which carry the highest density of muscle spindles anywhere in the body. And that sensory burst races up the spinal cord to the brainstem, cerebellum, and prefrontal cortex, giving the brain a clean read on the body's position, tension, and tone. And the goal is to correct a subluxation, a 3-part pattern that includes physical misalignment, joint fixation, and neurological interference between the brain and the body. For children, the pressure used is compared to checking the ripeness of an avocado. Gentle, specific, child-appropriate at every stage of life. So, how one small input affects the entire nervous system. The adjustment delivers a controlled burst of neurosensory input that the brain uses to recalibrate how it processes information from the body. That signal reaches the brainstem, the region that controls heart rate, breathing, digestion, and arousal. The foundational systems running every minute of every day. The vagus nerve and parasympathetic system engage, shifting the body out of sympathetic dominance, the chronic fight-or-flight stage most dysregulated kids are stuck in. Now, a 2016 study published in Neuroplasticity showed adjustments produce measurable changes in prefrontal cortex activity. And this is the region responsible for executive function, attention, and autonomic regulation. And this is why one adjustment can affect things seem unrelated. Sleep, digestion, immunity, emotional regulation. The nervous system controls it all. And children with very different diagnoses often share the same underlying pattern of dysautonomia, which is why the same foundational care helps so many of them. So, why repeated adjustments are short by design? Well, a child's nervous system can only be absorbed so much sensory input before it becomes overwhelmed and starts shutting down. So, I want you to picture the nervous system like a computer with too many tabs open. When too many programs run at once, everything slows down or crashes. Now, a child stuck in sympathetic dominance is already swamped by schools, screens, sensory input, and food sensitivities, leaving minimal space processing capacity. Now, add in 30 to 60 minutes of hands-on input wouldn't be more thorough, it would trigger the same meltdown response parents see at the dentist or after a long therapy session. A precise input takes roughly 90 seconds to 2 minutes. Then the brain spends the next 24 to 72 hours doing the actual work of releasing stuck stress patterns. And sometimes the most healing thing we can do is give the nervous system less to process, not more. So, let's talk about why frequency beats duration every time. The brain rewires through neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity has one rule: repetition. A foundational 2008 paper outlined that repetition, specificity, and intensity drive lasting neural change, not duration of a single session. There are 168 hours in a week. A child receives about 6 minutes of table time across 2 to 3 visits. That leaves roughly 167 hours and 54 minutes happening between visits, and those hours can work for the child or against them. High frequency keeps the release ahead of the reload from stress, growth spurts, illness, and sensory overload. Now, the adjustment is the catalyst. The brain does the healing between visits. So, how do insight scans make the invisible visible? Well, insight scans measure nervous system function through 3 tools: HRV, surface EMG, and thermal scanning. HRV shows how adaptable the autonomic nervous system is and reveals vagal tone. Surface EMG reveals whether a child is stuck on the gas pedal or showing fatigue patterns. And thermal scanning shows where autonomic dysregulation is concentrated along the spine. So, 2 children with the same diagnosis can show completely different scan patterns, which is why personalization happens at the neurological level, not the symptomatic one. So these scans guide care planning, technique selection, and primary subluxation targeting. We don't guess, we test. So if your child has been through every protocol, every supplement, every therapy, and the missing piece still feels like it's something deeper, there's a reason. The foundation is neurological. And the right input is delivered to the right place at the right frequency is what helps shift the entire trajectory. Your child doesn't need more labels, they need answers. And to get started with neurological focused chiropractic care, click the link in the bio, send us a DM, or schedule directly with us at Vanilla Chiropractic in Virginia Beach. Get the scans, find the foundation, trust the frequency.